Welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for watching. In today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to crochet these beautiful baby pants. They're to match the little cardigan sweater that I showed you last week, the Marshmallow Cardigan sweater. In the information box, I'll go ahead and leave you the link to the matching little sweater. Now, these little pants are for 0 to 3 months, but you can easily make them from a newborn size and up to 24 months. In the information box, I'll go ahead and leave you standard size measurements that you can use to make your little pants smaller or bigger. And as always, if you prefer written pattern, check out my Etsy shop. I'll leave the link to my Etsy shop in the information box below and up here on the right hand side. Thank you so much for your support. Now, to make these little pants, this is the yarn that I used. This is DK weight yarn. For the little pants, I used exactly 72 grams, about 60 grams in pink and about 12 grams in white. You will need less or more depending on the size that you make. Okay, let's get started. Don't forget to subscribe, activate the notifications bell, and remember, all of my tutorials are always in English and in Spanish. Thanks so much for watching. To begin, I'll be using this 3.5mm crochet hook. This is an E-hook or a size 5 hook. Now, I'll be using this DK weight yarn. At the beginning of the video, I showed you the yarn that I'm using, and I told you how much yarn we're going to need for the size that we're making here in this tutorial. You can also use any number 3 yarn or 8 ply. So here, to begin, the first thing that we need to do is we need to make our chain. I have my chain ready. I have 78 chains. This chain, without stretching, it's measuring about 40 centimeters, which is about 15.75 inches. So we're going to start with the waist. Make sure that whatever number you have here that is in multiples of 3, make sure that when you divide this number by 3 that you have an even number. That is because we're going to be separating the legs and we need to make sure we have an even number for that. So here we're going to join to the first chain. Make sure that your chain is not twisted. So grab a loop here to join and make a slip stitch. There. Now, to begin the first row, chain 1, beginning into the first chain, which is the same chain that we joined into, go back into that chain and make a half double crochet, a half double crochet into the next chain, half double crochet into the next, and so on. Continue like this, just making 1 half double crochet on each chain. I will meet you at the end to show you what we need to do next. I'm here at the end of this first row. I have a total of 78 half double crochets. To finish, go on top of the first half double crochet and join with a slip stitch. Now for rows 2 and 3, we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to chain 1, and beginning with this first stitch right here, which is the same one that we joined into, you're going to make a front post half double crochet, back post half double crochet into the next, front post half double crochet into the next, and so on. This is how I'm going to continue for this second row, just alternating between a front post and a back post half double crochet. At the end of this row, I'm going to have 78 stitches, and to finish, all you have to do is just go here to the beginning on top of the first half double crochet, join with a slip stitch, chain 1, and then repeat the same thing for the third row. So continue, finish row 2 and 3. I'll meet you at the end of the third row. I finished making the waistband here at the end of the third row. I just joined to the beginning with a slip stitch, cut my yarn and passed my yarn through that last loop, and this part here is done. Now from here on, this is going to be the top of the waistband. We're going to turn this over like this, and we're now going to continue and make the rest of the pants here where we have this first row of half double crochets. So insert your hook into this first space right here. This is the row of chains, and here's the first row that we did of half double crochets. So insert your hook into that space right there. I'm going to continue with the pink yarn. Here, grab a loop, bring it through, and chain 1. Now into this same space here, I'm going to make a half double crochet, half double crochet into the next space, half double crochet into the next, and so on. Continue like this all around, just making 1/2 double crochet into each space that's between 2 stitches. So right there, all around. Here at the end of this first row, for the body, I'm going to have 78 half double crochets. I'll meet you at the end of this first row. I'm here at the end of this first row. I have a total of 78 half double crochets. To finish, go on top of the first half double crochet and join with a slip stitch. Now for row 2, in this row we're going to begin our pattern. So chain 4 and right into the same stitch here, make a double crochet. This here represents 1 V-stitch. Now skip 1, 2, and into the 3rd stitch, make a V-stitch. Each V-stitch is always going to consist of a double crochet, 1 chain, 1 double crochet. Again, skip 1, 2, and into the 3rd, make another V-stitch. And this is how I'm going to continue for the 2nd row. Continue, I'll meet you at the end. I'm here at the end of the 2nd row. In this row I did V-stitches. I have a total of 26 V-stitches. Make sure that whatever number of V-stitches you have here, it's an even number. So here to finish, go into the chain 4 space and make a slip stitch. And here is row 2. Now for row 3, we're going to chain 1, and beginning with this 3 chains here, make a front post double crochet. Now in the chain space, make a fan. Each of the fans is going to consist of 2 double crochets, 1 chain, 2 double crochets, and then a front post double crochet into the 2nd fan of this same V-stitch. Again, we have the 2nd V-stitch, we have 2 double crochets and a chain space. Into the 1st double crochet, make a front post double crochet. In the chain space, make a fan. And into the 2nd double crochet of this same V-stitch, make a front post double crochet. And that's how you're going to work each one of the V-stitches. So continue all around. I'll meet you at the end of this 3rd row. I'm here at the end of the 3rd row. In this row I did fans. Now to finish this row, we're always going to go on top of the 1st double crochet, which is the front post double crochet here, and join with a slip stitch. Now to begin the 4th row, we're going to always make 3 slip stitches. The 1st slip stitch is going to be on top of the next double crochet, the 2nd one on top of the next double crochet, and the 3rd into the chain space. Now once here, you're going to chain 4 and make a double crochet in this same chain space. This here is the 1st V-stitch. Now jump to the next chain space of the next fan and make a V-stitch. Jump to the next chain space of the next fan and make another V-stitch. And this is how we're going to continue for this 4th row. Continue, I'll meet you at the end. I'm here at the end of the 4th row. In this row I did V-stitches. I have 26. To finish, we always go here to the side of the 4 chains and join with a slip stitch. And this is how I finish this row with V-stitches. Now for row 5, we're going to repeat the row of fans. So to begin here, you're going to chain 1, and then immediately into the 3 chains here, you're going to make a front post double crochet. Now in the chain space of this same V-stitch, you're going to make a fan. So 2 double crochets, 1 chain, 2 double crochets, and then a front post double crochet into the 2nd double crochet of the V-stitch. Again, we have the next V-stitch, make a front post double crochet into the 1st double crochet. In the chain space, make a fan. Now a front post double crochet into the 2nd double crochet of that V-stitch. And that's how you're going to continue for this 5th row. Continue, I'll meet you here at the end to once again show you how to finish this row of fans and then how to start the row of V-stitches, since from here on you're just going to continue and repeat these 2 rows until we have the right measurement. I'll meet you at the end of this 5th row. I'm here at the end of the 5th row. In this row I did fans. I have a total of 26 fans. Now to finish this row, you always go on top of the first double crochet and join with a slip stitch. And that's how you finish the row of fans. From here on, these are the 2 rows that you're going to repeat, row 4 and row 5. So for row 6, I'm going to make the row V stitches. So to begin here, we always make 3 slip stitches. The 3rd one is here in the chain space. Once here, you're going to chain 4 and make a double crochet. This here is your first V stitch of the row, and then you go into each chain space of each fan and make a V stitch. And that's how you're going to continue all around for this row of V stitches, which is row 6. Now to finish the row, you're going to go here to the side of the 4 chains and join with a slip stitch. Then you're going to chain 1 and then repeat the row of fans, where you start with a front post double crochet into the 3 chains and then make a fan in the chain space, and so on. So continue. Here what we're going to do is just continue until we have the measurement for the rise from the waist. I'm not sure how many rows I'm going to make here, but continue watching. I will let you know how many rows we're going to do here. So I will meet you at the end of that row. I did a total of 12 rows here for this part of the baby pants. Now the first row is the row of half double crochets, and then I did 11 rows here of the pattern. We have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. My last row here was the row of V stitches. So if you're making this for any other size using the measurements that I'm going to provide you with in the information box, make sure that your last row is also the same row as mine, which is the row of V stitches. As it is from the top of the waist to the end of this last row, it's measuring about 15.5 centimeters, which is about 6 inches. Now what we're going to do next is we're going to divide the legs. Now before we continue, we need to place some stitch markers. I have 26 V stitches at the end of this 12th row. We're going to mark the last V stitch and the first V stitch. This is going to be the back side. And then for each leg, I'm going to have 11 V stitches. We have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. And then for the front side, I have marked 2 V stitches. And then for the second leg, I have 11 V stitches as well. So 11, 11, 2 for the back, 2 for the front. Now to continue here, I finished the last row by joining to the beginning. So here to begin, we're going to chain 1, and here I have to make a fan. So I'm going to make the front post double crochet first. And here for these 4 fans that we're going to do, we're not going to chain 1. You're just going to make 4 double crochets. This is because we're just going to join this part once we're done with the legs. So there's no need to add a chain space there. So there, I have my 4 double crochets and now a front post double crochet. To separate the leg, I'm going to chain 1, skip 11 V stitches, and into the 12th V stitch, which is this one here after the stitch marker, make a front post double crochet, and then make 4 double crochets inside the chain space. Again, we're not making the chain in between the 2 double crochets here. There, and then a front post double crochet, and then we need to make 1 more here for the front side. I have 2 fans. To separate the legs, chain 1, skip 11 V stitches, and then to the 12th V stitch here at the end. After the stitch marker, make the last fan. Now here in between the legs, I'm only going to chain 1, but if you want to add more chains, that's fine. You may need to add more fans depending on how many chains you add there. So now to finish here, you're just going to join on top of the first stitch with a slip stitch. Cut your yarn and pass your yarn through this last loop. Make sure you leave a nice long tail, because what you're going to do here is you're going to join from the inside like this, these fans. You're just going to go one stitch on this side and one stitch on this side, and just sew this part together, and the legs are separated. So now we're going to continue. This is the back side, so we're going to go here to the left side, and I'm going to start right here, right in the center where we have the chain space. I'm going to work this row on the right side. Make sure that you insert your hook correctly here, and once here I'm going to grab a loop and I'm going to chain 3, and I'm going to make a double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochets. Here I'm making a fan. Now I'm going to go to this side. This is the first V-stitch out of the 11 that we have for this left side. So I'm going to go into this front post double crochet that's part of these 2 for the crutch. So I'm going to insert my hook into that space. I'm going to grab a loop, take 2 loops off, leave 2 loops, and now go into the first double crochet of this first V-stitch and work your front post double crochet where you close this double crochet as well. So this is a double crochet 2 together. This is so that there's no gap between this center fan and this first fan for the leg. And now just complete the fan. Same thing for the next V-stitch. Front post double crochet, a fan, 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets, and then a front post double crochet. And that's how you're going to work each one of these V-stitches until you come to this other side. I will meet you right here at the end of this first row for the first leg to show you how we're going to finish this row. I'm here at the end of this first row for this first leg. I have the last fan. I still need to complete this last fan. I need to make the front post double crochet here. So I'm going to make the front post double crochet, but I'm not going to close it. I'm going to leave 2 loops, and I'm going to go here to these 2 fans that I did for the front side. Yarn over, insert your hook into this last double crochet, take 2 loops off, 3 loops on the hook, close. Here's the double crochet 2 together so that there's no gap between this fan and this one here. Now to finish, just go into the 3rd chain and join with a slip stitch. And here is the first row for this first leg with a total of 12 fans. Now for row 2, I'm going to make 2 slip stitches. Now chain 4, and then a double crochet, and then a V-stitch into each one of these fans. A V-stitch into the next, and so on. Continue like this, just making V-stitches. At the end of the second row, we're going to have 12 V-stitches. I'll meet you at the end. I'm here at the end of the second row. In this row I did V-stitches. I have a total of 12. Now to finish this row, you always go here to the side where we have the 4 chains and join with a slip stitch. For row 3, you chain 1, and then you begin by making a front post double crochet around this first double crochet, and then you make your fan inside the chain space. And then a front post double crochet, and then you do the same thing for each one of the V-stitches, and that's how you're going to continue for the 3rd row. Continue and finish this 3rd row. I will meet you at the end to show you once again how to finish this row and then how to continue from here on, because you're going to continue on your own and finish the rest of the leg. I'll meet you at the end of the 3rd row. I'm here at the end of the 3rd row. In this row I did the row of fans. I have 12. To finish, you always go on top of the first double crochet and join with a slip stitch. Now to make the row of V-stitches, you just make 3 slip stitches, And once here in the chain space of this first fan, you chain 4 and then make a double crochet. And this is the first V-stitch. And then all you do is just go into each chain space of each fan and make a V-stitch. At the end of each row, we're going to have either 12 V-stitches or 12 fans. And all you're going to do is just repeat these 2 rows, the fan row and the V-stitch row. I'm not sure how many rows I'm going to do here, but here all I need to look at is the measurement for the leg. For the leg, it needs to be about 12 centimeters, which is about 5 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and continue until I have that measurement. If you're making it for any other size, in the information box I have the measurements for the different sizes. So you can just continue and make rows until you have that measurement. Okay, so continue. I will let you know how many rows I'm going to do here, so I will meet you at the end of that row. I'm almost done with the leg. I have done a total of 9 rows. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The last row I did was a row of fans. So here, what we're going to do next is we're going to do the bottom of the leg, and we're going to do it like this with front post and back post half double crochets. Now, this part here, it's measuring about 11 centimeters from here where we started up to here. It's about 11 centimeters, which is 4.25 inches. So now for the 10th row, I'm just going to go into the chain space of this first fan. Here at the end of the 9th row, I just joined to the beginning with a slip stitch and I cut my yarn. With the white yarn here, I'm going to pull a loop through, chain 1, and into this same chain space of this first fan, I'm going to make 2 half double crochets. 2 half double crochets in the chain space of the next fan. 2 half double crochets into the next chain space of the next fan, and so on. This is how we're going to continue for this 10th row, just making 2 half double crochets in each fan. Continue all around. I'll meet you at the end. I'm here at the end of the 10th row. In this row, I did half double crochets all around inside each one of the fans. I have 24 half double crochets. To finish, just go on top of the first stitch and join with a slip stitch. Now for row 11 and 12, I think I'm only going to do 2 more rows, but if I do more or less, just continue watching. You're going to do the same thing. You're going to chain 1, and then here you're just going to make a front post half double crochet into the next, back post half double crochet, front post half double crochet into the next, back post half double crochet into the next, and so on. You're just going to continue all around, alternating between a front post and a back post half double crochet. To finish the row, you're going to go on top of the first stitch, make a slip stitch, chain 1, and then repeat the same thing for row 12. I think I'm only going to do these 3 rows, but if I do more or less, just continue watching. I will let you know how many rows we're going to do here. So continue, and I'll meet you at the end of that row. I finished rows 11 and 12 of front post and back post half double crochets, and then I decided to make 1 more row. So I did row 13 as well. So for this part here, I have 3 rows of front post and back post half double crochets. So row 11, 12, and 13, and then the first row here where we did half double crochets. So it's a total of 4 rows here, and the leg is done, and this is how it looks. Now what we're going to do next is we're going to make the second leg. So this here is the back side, so we're going to do the right side, and same thing, we're going to go right here. This row is going to be worked from the right side, so we're going to go into this chain space, grab a loop here, bring it through, and chain 3. 1, 2, 3. These 3 chains counts as your first double crochet. Now make a double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochets. Now to make the first fan here into the first V-stitch so that there's no gap, we're going to double crochet 2 together. So yarn over and insert your hook into this last double crochet of this fan that's in the center. Grab a loop, take 2 loops off, leave 2 loops, yarn over, then go into the first double crochet of the first V-stitch and make a front post double crochet where you close through these 3 loops. And now complete the fan. There. Next V-stitch, same thing, front post double crochet, a fan, and then a front post double crochet. That's how you're going to continue for this first row. For the second leg, I will meet you here at the end of this row to show you how to finish this row and how to make the next row, row 2. I'm here at the end of this first row for the second leg. Now here's my last fan. I need to finish this by making my front post double crochet. So I'm going to make it here, take 2 loops off, leave 2 loops on the hook. Now here we're going to double crochet 2 together. So now yarn over again and insert your hook into this last double crochet of this center fan and take 2 loops off, 3 loops on the hook, close. Here's that double crochet 2 together. Now to finish, go into the 3rd chain here at the beginning and join with a slip stitch. And this is how I finished the first row for the second leg with 12 fans. Now for the second row, make 2 slip stitches and into the chain space here, now chain 4 and make a double crochet. And here's the first V-stitch. Now in the chain space of each fan, make a V-stitch. And that's how you're going to continue for the second row. Now to finish this second row, you're just going to go here to the beginning where we have the 4 chains, make a slip stitch, chain 1, and then work a front post double crochet around these 3 chains, and then complete your first fan for that 3rd row, and then continue all around making fans. You're just going to continue and repeat the same thing we did here for the first leg. It's done exactly in the same way. So go ahead and finish the second leg, and then I'll come back and show you the finished baby pants. I finished the second leg. I did it exactly in the same way how I showed you here with the first one. So these little pants are all done. Now here around the waist, all I did was just make a long chain. This is about 150 chains, and I just weave this here all around the waist. So the little pants are all done. So now let me give you the finished measurement. The total length from the top of the waist to the end of the leg, it's measuring about 28.5 centimeters, which is about 11.25 inches. From the crotch to the end of the leg, it's measuring about 13 centimeters, which is about 5 1/8 of an inch. From the waist to the crotch here, it's measuring about 15.5 centimeters, which is about 6 1/8 of an inch. Now the hip, just the top, it's measuring about 24 centimeters, which is about 9 3/8 of an inch. And the waist all around, it's measuring about 41 centimeters, which is about 16 inches. So based on these measurements, these little pants are for baby boys and girls between 0 and 3 months. You can make them smaller or bigger using the measurements that I'm going to provide you here in the information box, which opens when you click the title of the video. You can make the baby pants from newborn size and up to 24 months. Also in the information box, I'll leave the link to this tutorial, to the matching little cardigan and a little hat that I did where I used the same stitch pattern. So this completes today's tutorial. Make sure to comment below and let me know if you want me to make another little set with another stitch pattern. I'll gladly go ahead and do that, but make sure to comment. And as always, if you prefer written pattern, check out my Etsy shop. I'll leave the link to my Etsy shop in the information box below and up here on the right hand side. Thank you so much for your support. Okay, so this was today's tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time.